The chicks begin searching and pecking almost the moment I unwrap the blankets and open the lid in the morning. Then comes the usual sequence: pecking at the feed, drinking water, and picking at the grit once everything is put into place. Because the late April mornings are still quite cool, I did not open all 4 flaps today. Instead, I kept 3 of them closed, leaving just enough opening for the warming lamp to sit above them like a ceiling, so they could have light and warmth without too much exposure and without an easy chance to jump free. Still, I wanted to know how they were doing. So I slowly opened one flap a little wider. The effect was immediate. A brief silence fell over the box, as if all of them had looked up at once and sensed that some new opportunity might be arriving. Then the attempts began. Necks extended, wings opening slightly, bodies rising, hesitating, gathering themselves, and then jumping. It is always so much fun to watch that moment just before the leap, when intention seems to gather in the whole body. I put the flap back and stepped away, but as I was leaving, I heard an unusual commotion. I turned my head and saw the boldest white leghorn already up on the flap, looking straight at me. What a bold spirit she has. That was enough to remind me that it was time to put the perches back in. And once I did, they wasted no time. They jumped up quickly and claimed them at once. For a brief moment, they all seemed satisfied, quiet, settled, almost peaceful. But only for a brief moment. Soon the movement began again. They walked along the perches, balancing themselves, jumping from one section to another, crossing from one stick to the other, jumping down and then up again, never quite content to remain in the same place for long. Sometimes they squeezed into a spot beside another chick. Sometimes they nudged one another aside. Sometimes they seemed to move for no reason other than the pleasure of movement itself. And so their day began. They had stayed indoors for 2 days because the weather had turned chilly. But today was sunny and warmer again, so we brought the box outside to the deck once more. They seemed to notice the difference immediately. They turned themselves toward the warmth of the morning light, and when I looked closely, their eyes seemed almost to brighten and clear in the sun, shifting from dark to transparent in a way that felt suddenly vivid and alive. When I opened a section of the chicken wire to take footage of them, they all became attentive at once, watching closely, as if assessing whether this might be another opportunity to jump to a higher point, so they can see the world beyond better. That is what it increasingly feels like now. They are no longer only living in their box. They are beginning, in their own cautious and energetic way, to imagine the wider world outside it. Thank you for watching. If this was helpful or inspiring, please give it a like, share, subscribe, and tell me what you're growing in the comments. See you next time in the garden.